A sequel with a new tone. When The Accountant was released in 2016, it quickly distinguished itself within the crowded action thriller genre. The film's protagonist, Christian Wolff, Ben Affleck, was not the typical action hero. He was an autistic savant whose mathematical genius and combat skills made him a formidable but unconventional force. The original film blended elements of noir, psychological drama, and intense action, earning a dedicated fan base and leaving the door open for a sequel. Nearly a decade later, The Accountant 2 arrives with significant anticipation, but also with a marked shift in tone and style that both broadens its appeal and risks alienating purists of the first installment. The most immediately noticeable change in The Accountant 2 is its embrace of a lighter, more comedic tone. Where the original film was steeped in brooding atmosphere and moral ambiguity, the sequel pivots toward a buddy action formula, infusing the story with humor and a sense of playfulness that was largely absent before. This tonal evolution is not merely cosmetic, it fundamentally alters the viewing experience and reframes the central character dynamics. For some, this shift will feel like a breath of fresh air and necessary evolution that prevents the franchise from stagnating or repeating itself. For others, it may feel like a betrayal of what made the original film compelling. The tonal shift is evident from the opening scenes. The film wastes little time reintroducing Christian Wolff, now living a quieter life, before plunging him back into a world of intrigue and violence. However, unlike the solitary, almost monastic figure of the first film, Wolff is quickly paired with his estranged brother, Braxton, Jon Bernthal, whose larger role injects a new energy into the narrative. Their interactions marked by sibling rivalry, banter, and moments of genuine affection set the stage for a film that is as much about family and reconciliation as it is about solving crimes and dispatching villains. This new direction is not without precedent in the genre. The action-comedy hybrid has a long and successful history, from the Lethal Weapon series to more recent entries like The Nice Guys and 21 Jump Street. What sets The Accountant 2 apart is its willingness to blend this formula with the unique premise of its protagonist. The film does not abandon the elements that made the first installment distinctive. Christian's autism, his mathematical prowess, and his moral complexity remain central, but it places them in a new context, one that is more accessible and, arguably, more entertaining for a wider audience. The decision to lighten the tone also reflects broader trends in Hollywood sequels. As franchises age, there is often a temptation to reinvent or reimagine them to keep pace with changing audience tastes. In the case of The Accountant 2, this means trading some of the original's intensity for a more relaxed, self-aware approach. The film is unafraid to poke fun at itself, acknowledging the absurdity of its premise and the larger-than-life abilities of its central character. This self-awareness is a double-edged sword. It allows the film to avoid taking itself too seriously, but it can also undermine the stakes and tension that made the original so gripping. Critical reception to this tonal shift has been mixed but generally positive. Many reviewers appreciate the film's willingness to take risks and experiment with its formula. The chemistry between Affleck and Bernthal is frequently cited as a highlight, with their dynamic providing both comedic relief and emotional depth. Others, however, lament the loss of the first film's darker, more cerebral tone, arguing that the sequel sacrifices narrative complexity for easy laughs and spectacle. From a thematic perspective, the lighter tone allows The Accountant 2 to explore new territory. The focus on family, redemption, and personal growth is more pronounced, giving the film an emotional resonance that complements its action set pieces. The humor, while sometimes broad, is rooted in character and situation rather than cheap gags, making it feel organic rather than forced. In summary, The Accountant 2 is a sequel that embraces change. Its new tone is both a response to the expectations of modern audiences and a natural evolution of its characters and story. Whether this shift is ultimately successful will depend on individual taste, but there is no denying that the film carves out its own identity within the franchise. For those willing to go along for the ride, it offers a fresh, entertaining, and occasionally poignant take on the world of Christian Wolff. Plot overview. The narrative architecture of The Accountant 2 is both ambitious and intricate, picking up the threads left by its predecessor while weaving in new characters, conflicts, and thematic concerns. The film opens with a jarring incident: the murder of Raymond King, the former Treasury Department director played by J.K. Simmons. This event is not just a plot device to connect the two films, it is the catalyst that propels the story forward, reuniting familiar faces and introducing new motivations. Marybeth Medina, Cynthia Addai-Robinson, who was a pivotal supporting character in the first film, is now thrust into the spotlight. Her character arc has evolved. No longer the nervous, compromised agent of the original, Medina is now a seasoned investigator, determined to honor King's legacy and bring his killer to justice. Her journey is not just about solving a crime but also about confronting her own past decisions and the ethical gray areas that come with her line of work. The murder investigation is quickly revealed to be just the tip of the iceberg. As Medina delves deeper, she uncovers a web of corruption and criminal enterprise that stretches far beyond King's death. The central case involves a missing family, an immigrant mother and her two children who have vanished under mysterious circumstances. Their disappearance is linked to a sprawling human trafficking ring, adding a layer of urgency and moral complexity to the proceedings. Enter Christian Wolff, Ben Affleck, whose unique skill set makes him the ideal ally for Medina. Wolff's life has changed since the events of the first film. He's attempted to retreat into anonymity, but his sense of justice and loyalty to King draw him back into the fray. The film deftly balances his personal journey with the larger investigation, using his perspective to explore themes of isolation, trust, and redemption. The narrative takes a significant turn with the reintroduction of Braxton, Jon Bernthal, Christian's estranged brother. Their relationship, strained by years of separation and unresolved trauma, becomes a focal point of the story. Braxton's involvement is not merely incidental, he is drawn into the case through his own connections to the criminal underworld. The brothers' uneasy alliance is marked by tension, humor, and moments of genuine vulnerability, providing the emotional core of the film. As the investigation unfolds, the film employs a multi-layered structure, alternating between the present-day search for the missing family and flashbacks that illuminate the brothers' shared history. These flashbacks are not just exposition, they serve to deepen our understanding of their motivations and the scars they carry from their upbringing. The screenplay skillfully uses these moments to build empathy and complexity, avoiding the pitfalls of melodrama. The human trafficking subplot is handled with a mix of sensitivity and suspense. The filmmakers avoid sensationalizing the issue, instead focusing on the human cost and the bureaucratic obstacles that hinder justice. The missing family is portrayed not as mere plot devices but as individuals with hopes, fears, and agency. Their plight serves as a mirror for the protagonists, forcing them to confront their own limitations and the consequences of their actions. The plot thickens as Medina, Wolff, and Braxton uncover layers of deception within both the criminal organization and the government agencies tasked with dismantling it. The film does not shy away from exploring institutional corruption, highlighting the ways in which power can be abused and justice subverted. This thematic thread adds a layer of realism and contemporary relevance, grounding the action in a world that feels both familiar and fraught with moral ambiguity. Action sequences are interspersed throughout the narrative, serving both as adrenaline-fueled set pieces and as vehicles for character development. Each confrontation is not just a physical battle but a test of loyalty, ingenuity, and resolve. The film's pacing is deliberate, allowing for moments of quiet reflection amid the chaos. This balance between action and introspection is one of the sequel's strengths, elevating it above standard genre fare. The climax of the film brings all the narrative threads together in a tense, emotionally charged showdown. The resolution is both satisfying and open-ended, leaving room for further exploration of the characters' journeys. The missing family's fate is revealed in a way that is both hopeful and bittersweet, reflecting the film's nuanced approach to its subject matter. Throughout the plot, the filmmakers make effective use of symbolism and recurring motifs. Numbers, patterns, and codes are not just tools for solving crimes but metaphors for the character's attempts to make sense of a chaotic world. The film's title, The Accountant 2, is thus more than a reference to Wolff's profession, it is a statement about the ways in which we all seek order, meaning, and connection in our lives. In summary, the plot of The Accountant 2 is a carefully constructed tapestry of intrigue, action, and emotion. It honors the legacy of the original film while charting new territory, offering audiences a story that is both entertaining and thought-provoking. The narrative's complexity is a testament to the filmmaker's ambition, inviting viewers to engage with the film on multiple levels. Whether you are drawn to the suspenseful investigation, the dynamic character relationships, or the exploration of timely social issues, there is much to appreciate in the sequel's rich and rewarding plot. Ben Affleck's performance. Ben Affleck's return as Christian Wolff in The Accountant 2 is both a continuation and a reinvention of the character he first brought to life nearly a decade ago. Affleck's portrayal remains the film's anchor, grounding its wilder plot turns and tonal shifts in a sense of authenticity and emotional truth. The actor's commitment to the role is evident in every scene, from the quiet, introspective moments to the explosive action sequences, making Christian Wolff one of the most distinctive protagonists in recent action cinema. At the heart of Affleck's performance is his nuanced depiction of autism. Christian Wolff is not just another action hero, he is a man whose mind works in patterns, numbers, and codes, and whose social interactions are marked by discomfort, directness, and a unique moral compass. Affleck avoids the pitfalls of caricature, instead imbuing Wolff with a quiet dignity and complexity. He captures the character's struggles with eye contact, his preference for routine, and his difficulty in understanding social cues, all while never reducing Wolff to a collection of symptoms or quirks. This sensitivity is crucial, as it allows the audience to empathize with Wolff as a fully realized human being, rather than simply as a plot device or a vehicle for spectacle. Affleck's physicality is also central to his performance. Christian Wolff is a man of few words but decisive action, and Affleck conveys this through subtle gestures, precise movements, and a restrained yet powerful presence. Whether he is deciphering complex financial records, engaging in hand-to-hand combat, or simply navigating a crowded room, Affleck's performance is always rooted in character. He brings a sense of realism to the film's more outlandish elements, making even the most improbable scenarios feel grounded and believable. One of the most striking aspects of Affleck's work in The Accountant 2 is his ability to play off his co-stars, particularly Jon Bernthal as Braxton. The dynamic between the two brothers is the emotional core of the film, and Affleck's understated, deadpan approach provides the perfect counterpoint to Bernthal's more exuberant, volatile energy. Their scenes together are filled with humor, tension, and genuine affection, and Affleck's performance ensures that Wolff is never overshadowed by his more extroverted sibling. Instead, he holds his own, using silence, stillness, and the occasional dry one-liner to assert his presence and personality. Affleck's portrayal also evolves in response to the sequel's lighter, more comedic tone. While the first film was steeped in brooding atmosphere and moral ambiguity, The Accountant 2 leans into humor and camaraderie, and Affleck adapts accordingly. He allows himself to be more playful, more open, and more vulnerable, revealing new facets of Wolff's personality. This evolution is most evident in his interactions with Braxton, where he gradually lets down his guard and allows himself to connect with his brother on a deeper level. Affleck's ability to convey this emotional growth without sacrificing the character's essential traits is a testament to his skill as an actor. At the same time, Affleck does not shy away from the darker aspects of Wolff's character. Christian is a man who has lived a life of violence and secrecy, and Affleck ensures that this history is always present, even in the film's lighter moments. There is a sense of melancholy and isolation beneath Wolff's surface, a reminder of the personal cost of his chosen path. Affleck's performance hints at the toll that years of vigilantism and estrangement have taken on Wolff, adding depth and poignancy to the character's journey. Affleck's approach to the action sequences is also noteworthy. Unlike in his previous roles as Batman or other larger-than-life heroes, The action in The Accountant 2 is intimate, gritty, and character-driven. Affleck has stated that what makes the action in this film unique is its grounding in character motivation. Every fight, every shootout, every tense standoff is rooted in what Christian Wolff wants and why he is fighting. This approach gives the action a sense of urgency and emotional weight, making it more than just spectacle. Affleck's physicality and precision in these scenes further reinforce Wolff's reputation as a lethal, highly skilled operative, while also highlighting his humanity and vulnerability. Another key element of Affleck's performance is his chemistry with the supporting cast. Whether he is sharing the screen with Cynthia Addai-Robinson as Marybeth Medina or with the non-speaking autistic character Justine, who is also Wolff's business partner, Affleck ensures that each relationship feels authentic and meaningful. His interactions with Justine, in particular, are marked by a quiet understanding and mutual respect, underscoring the film's themes of connection and belonging. Affleck's portrayal of Christian Wolff is also notable for its subtlety. He avoids grand gestures or melodramatic speeches, instead relying on small, telling details: a glance, a pause, a slight change in posture to convey emotion and intention. This restraint is especially effective in a genre often defined by excess, and it allows Affleck to stand out in a crowded field of action heroes. His performance is a reminder that true strength lies not in brute force or flashy theatrics, but in quiet determination, intelligence, and integrity. In summary, Ben Affleck's performance in The Accountant 2 is a masterclass in understated, character-driven acting. He brings depth, nuance, and authenticity to the role of Christian Wolff, balancing the character's social awkwardness, mathematical brilliance, and lethal combat skills with a sense of humanity and emotional vulnerability. Affleck's chemistry with his co-stars, particularly Jon Bernthal, is one of the film's greatest strengths, and his ability to adapt to the sequel's lighter, more comedic tone ensures that Wolff remains a compelling and relatable protagonist. Ultimately, Affleck's performance is the beating heart of The Accountant 2, anchoring its wild plot and tonal shifts in a sense of emotional truth and authenticity. Jon Bernthal's expanded role. Jon Bernthal's presence in The Accountant 2 marks a significant evolution for the franchise, both in terms of character dynamics and the film's overall tone. While the original The Accountant introduced Braxton, Christian Wolff's estranged brother, as a secondary figure whose past was hinted at but not fully explored, the sequel not only brings Braxton into the foreground but also makes him a driving force in both the narrative and emotional arcs of the story. Bernthal's expanded role is more than just a casting decision. It is a creative pivot that reshapes the film into a buddy action comedy with a deeply personal undercurrent. Braxton, as portrayed by Jon Bernthal, is a character of contrasts. He is a street-smart, volatile hitman whose loyalty to his brother is as unwavering as it is complicated. His rough exterior and quick temper conceal a deep well of vulnerability and a longing for connection, particularly with Christian, from whom he has been estranged for years. Bernthal's performance is layered, balancing Braxton's swagger and aggression with moments of tenderness and introspection. This complexity is essential to the film's success, as it allows Braxton to be more than just a foil for Christian. He becomes a fully realized character whose journey is as compelling as that of the protagonist. The relationship between Braxton and Christian is the emotional core of The Accountant 2. Bernthal and Affleck share a chemistry that is both electric and nuanced, their interactions ranging from playful banter to tense confrontations. The film's script gives them ample opportunity to explore the full spectrum of their brotherly bond, from the awkwardness of their reunion to the gradual rebuilding of trust. Bernthal's ability to switch between humor and intensity is particularly noteworthy. He can deliver a wisecrack with perfect timing in one scene and convey raw emotion in the next, all while maintaining Braxton's distinct voice and presence. One of the most striking aspects of Bernthal's performance is his physicality. Known for his roles in gritty action films and television series, Bernthal brings a visceral energy to The Accountant 2. His fight scenes are brutal and realistic, reflecting Braxton's background as a hardened operative. Yet, unlike the stylized violence of superhero movies, the action in The Accountant 2 is grounded and character-driven. As Bernthal himself has noted, the film's action sequences are not just about spectacle but about motivation and emotion. Every punch and gunshot is rooted in what the characters want and why they are fighting. This approach gives Braxton's confrontations a sense of authenticity and stakes that elevate them above standard genre fare. Bernthal's expanded role also allows the film to delve into themes of family, redemption, and reconciliation. Braxton's journey is not just about helping Christian solve a case, it is about confronting their shared past and the wounds that have kept them apart. The film uses flashbacks and quiet moments to explore the brothers' history, revealing the pain and misunderstanding that have shaped their relationship. Bernthal's performance is key to making these moments resonate. He conveys Braxton's regret, anger, and hope with subtlety and depth, ensuring that the emotional beats land with sincerity. The buddy action dynamic between Braxton and Christian is one of the film's greatest strengths. Their partnership is reminiscent of classic action duos like those in 48 HRS or Lethal Weapon, but with a darker, more personal twist. The film's humor often stems from their contrasting personalities: Christian's reserved, analytical nature versus Braxton's impulsive, emotional approach. Bernthal's ability to play off Affleck's deadpan delivery creates a rhythm that is both funny and affecting, making their scenes together the highlights of the film. The script gives them a series of memorable set pieces, from a comedic speed dating sequence to a tense barroom brawl, each of which showcases their chemistry and the unique dynamic between them. Bernthal's presence also has a ripple effect on the rest of the cast. His interactions with supporting characters, such as Marybeth Medina, Cynthia Addai-Robinson, and the enigmatic assassin Anais, Daniella Pineda, add layers to the story and help to flesh out the world of the film. While Medina's character is somewhat underdeveloped, her scenes with Braxton provide moments of tension and intrigue, highlighting his ability to read people and adapt to changing situations. Pineda's Anais, meanwhile, serves as a formidable counterpart to Braxton, their brief but intense encounters adding to the film's sense of danger and unpredictability. The expansion of Bernthal's role is not just a matter of screen time, it is a reflection of the film's shift in focus. The Accountant 2 is less about Christian Wolff as a lone wolf and more about the power of partnership and family. By giving Braxton a central place in the narrative, the film explores what it means to be a brother, to forgive, and to fight for something greater than oneself. Bernthal's performance is essential to this exploration, as he brings a sense of humanity and relatability to a character who could have easily been reduced to a stereotype. Ultimately, Jon Bernthal's expanded role in The Accountant 2 is a masterclass in supporting performance. He elevates every scene he is in, whether through his physical presence, his emotional depth, or his comedic timing. His chemistry with Ben Affleck is the film's beating heart, and their partnership is what makes The Accountant 2 a memorable and engaging sequel. The film's success is due in large part to Bernthal's ability to make Braxton a character worth rooting for, even as he grapples with his own demons and the complexities of his relationship with his brother. In summary, Jon Bernthal's expanded role as Braxton in The Accountant 2 is a triumph of character work and ensemble chemistry. His performance brings humor, heart, and grit to the film, making Braxton a standout character in a crowded genre. The dynamic between Bernthal and Affleck is the film's greatest asset, and their partnership is sure to be remembered as one of the highlights of action cinema in 2025. Chemistry between leads. The undeniable chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal is the beating heart of The Accountant 2, elevating the film from a standard action thriller into a compelling buddy movie with genuine emotional resonance. Their dynamic is not only a highlight for fans of the original but also a major reason behind the sequel's streaming success and positive audience reception. The interplay between Affleck's Christian Wolff and Bernthal's Braxton Wolff forms the core of the film's narrative, infusing every scene they share with energy, tension, and authenticity. A study in contrasts. At the root of their chemistry is the contrast between the two characters. Christian, played by Affleck, is methodical, introverted, and emotionally reserved, a man whose life is governed by logic, routine, and an internal code shaped by his experience with autism. Braxton, as portrayed by Bernthal, is the polar opposite, extroverted, impulsive, and quick to express his emotions, whether through humor, anger, or affection. This classic odd couple pairing provides fertile ground for both comedic and dramatic moments, as each brother's strengths and weaknesses are thrown into sharp relief by the other's presence. Affleck's understated performance, marked by subtle gestures and a carefully controlled physicality, gives Christian a quiet gravitas. Bernthal, meanwhile, brings a raw, kinetic energy to Braxton, making him unpredictable and magnetic. When these two forces collide, the result is a series of scenes that crackle with tension and, at times, explode with laughter. The film's script capitalizes on this dynamic, giving the actors plenty of opportunities to play off each other's rhythms and reactions. From estrangement to brotherhood. The evolution of Christian and Braxton's relationship is central to the film's emotional arc. At the outset, the brothers are estranged, burdened by a history of misunderstandings and unresolved trauma. Their initial interactions are fraught with awkwardness and defensiveness, as each struggles to bridge the gap that years of separation have created. Yet, as the story progresses and the stakes rise, the brothers are forced to rely on one another, rediscovering the bond that once united them. This journey from estrangement to partnership is rendered believable and affecting by Affleck and Bernthal's performances. The actors convey a sense of shared history through small, unspoken gestures, a glance, a half-smile, a moment of hesitation that speak volumes about the characters' inner lives. Their banter, often laced with sarcasm and dry wit, masks a deeper longing for connection and understanding. The audience is invited to root for their reconciliation, making the eventual moments of genuine brotherly affection all the more satisfying. Comedy and camaraderie. One of the most notable shifts in The Accountant 2 compared to its predecessor is the embrace of humor and camaraderie, much of which stems from the interplay between Affleck and Bernthal. Their comedic timing is impeccable, with Bernthal's quick-fire delivery bouncing perfectly off Affleck's deadpan responses. Whether they're navigating a tense standoff, engaging in a high-octane chase, or simply sharing a quiet drink, the actors find ways to inject levity into even the most serious situations. This humor never feels forced or out of place, rather, it arises organically from the characters' personalities and the absurdity of their circumstances. The film's lighter tone is a direct result of the leads' chemistry, transforming what could have been a grim, procedural thriller into a more accessible and entertaining experience. Critics and audiences alike have praised this aspect of the film, noting that the comedic elements enhance rather than detract from the story's emotional stakes. Emotional depth and vulnerability. Beneath the surface banter and action, there is a wellspring of emotional depth in the brothers' relationship. Both Christian and Braxton are haunted by their past, by the violence they've witnessed, the choices they've made, and the people they've lost. Affleck and Bernthal are unafraid to explore these vulnerabilities, allowing their characters to drop their guards and reveal their true selves in moments of crisis. A standout scene occurs late in the film, when the brothers, battered and exhausted, finally confront the pain that has kept them apart. Affleck's quiet anguish and Bernthal's raw emotion create a powerful tableau, one that lingers long after the credits roll. It's a testament to the actors' skill that they can move seamlessly from humor to heartbreak, often within the same scene. Impact on the film's success. The chemistry between Affleck and Bernthal is not just a boon for the film's narrative, it is a key factor in its critical and commercial success. Reviewers have singled out their partnership as the highlight of The Accountant 2, with many noting that the film's best moments are those in which the brothers are working together, whether to solve a mystery, outwit an adversary, or simply survive another day. Their dynamic has been credited with helping the film become a streaming hit, quickly rising to the top of Prime Video's charts and earning positive word of mouth from viewers. A blueprint for future installments. Given the overwhelmingly positive response to Affleck and Bernthal's on-screen partnership, it's no surprise that director Gavin O'Connor has expressed interest in continuing the story, potentially turning the series into a full trilogy. The blueprint for future installments is clear: at the center of the action, intrigue, and suspense must remain the complex, ever-evolving relationship between Christian and Braxton Wolff. Conclusion. In sum, the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal is the engine that drives The Accountant 2. Their performances, individually strong and collectively electric, transform the film into more than just another action sequel. Through their interplay of contrasts, logic and emotion, restraint and impulsiveness, they create a portrait of brotherhood that is as entertaining as it is moving. For fans and newcomers alike, their dynamic is reason enough to watch and rewatch the standout entry in the action thriller genre. Action sequences. Action is the lifeblood of The Accountant 2, but what distinguishes its sequences from those in most contemporary thrillers is the way they are meticulously crafted to serve character and story, not just spectacle. Director Gavin O'Connor, returning from the original, and stars Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal, have both emphasized in interviews that every punch, shot, and chase in the sequel is rooted in the characters' motivations and emotional stakes, rather than being mere visual set pieces. This philosophy is evident throughout the film, resulting in action that feels both thrilling and meaningful. Character-driven combat. Unlike the superhero blockbusters that both Affleck and Bernthal are known for, Batman and The Punisher, respectively, the action in The Accountant 2 is gritty, intimate, and always grounded in the narrative. Affleck explained at a global press conference that the action is always rooted in character motivation. It's not about creating a shot that looks cool or building a sequence for visual flair. Everything is driven by what these characters want and why they are fighting in the first place. This approach is visible from the film's opening set piece, where Christian Wolff's precise, almost clinical fighting style is contrasted with Braxton's raw, brawler energy. Variety and choreography. The film offers a diverse array of action sequences, from close quarters hand-to-hand combat and tactical shootouts to more unconventional set pieces, such as the much-discussed country western bar brawl. In this memorable scene, Christian and Braxton find themselves out of their element, only for Christian to surprise everyone, including his brother, by mathematically decoding the steps of a line dance and joining in with the crowd. The scene, which director O'Connor described as a hard left turn designed to deepen the brothers' relationship, quickly pivots from awkward comedy to a full-blown bar fight, giving both Affleck and Bernthal a chance to showcase their physicality and timing. The choreography here is not about perfection, it's about character, with Christian's calculated movements and Braxton's improvisational style complementing each other. The filmmakers worked closely with choreographer Jennifer Hamilton to ensure that the dance and subsequent fight felt organic to the characters. Affleck attended several rehearsals to master the steps, but as O'Connor noted, Christian didn't have to be great. He just had to do it. So it was never important that he lit the place on fire. Instead, the scene's impact comes from its authenticity and the way it advances the characters' arcs. Emotional stakes and realism. Throughout the film, the action is never gratuitous. Every sequence is designed to reveal something about the characters or to escalate the stakes of the story. For example, the shootouts are not just displays of marksmanship, they are desperate, high-stakes encounters where Christian and Braxton must rely on each other's strengths to survive. The choreography is tight and realistic, with director O'Connor insisting that the violence never feels stunty or separate from the characters. This insistence on emotional grounding is what sets The Accountant 2 apart from more superficial action fare. By the third act, the action becomes a visual representation of the brothers' growing unity. O'Connor explained, "It was all about tracking how these brothers Christian and Brax are working together, how they're united. The choreography isn't just about the physicality, it's about the emotional connection between them." This is most evident in the film's climactic sequence, where their teamwork is put to the ultimate test against a formidable antagonist. The choreography in these moments is as much about trust and communication as it is about skill, with each brother anticipating the other's moves and covering their blind spots. Contrast with superhero spectacle. Both Affleck and Bernthal have extensive experience in large-scale action franchises, but they were quick to point out how The Accountant 2 differs from those roles. Bernthal said, "You can't lie in a fight, you just can't. What you want is right there, so if you're going for it, you've got to know why. Gavin has a hunger to really dive into what makes these characters tick. The violence is not stylized or sanitized, it is messy, personal, and often carries real consequences. Injuries linger, and the emotional toll of violence is never ignored. Visual and technical execution. Cinematographer Seamus McGarvey, returning from the first film, uses a combination of handheld camera work and precise framing to place the audience in the midst of the action without sacrificing clarity. The editing is sharp but never disorienting, allowing viewers to follow the flow of each fight and appreciate the skill involved. The sound design further enhances the impact, with every punch, gunshot, and crash carrying weight and consequence. Memorable set pieces. In addition to the bar brawl, the film features several standout action sequences, including a tense ambush in a warehouse, a high-speed pursuit through city streets, and a final confrontation in a labyrinthine industrial complex. Each set piece is distinct, reflecting the unique challenges and environments the characters face. The warehouse ambush, for example, is a masterclass in suspense, with Christian using his analytical mind to outmaneuver a group of heavily armed adversaries. The city chase showcases Braxton's improvisational skills and willingness to take risks, while the finale brings all the threads together in a cathartic, emotionally charged showdown. Conclusion. Ultimately, the action sequences in The Accountant 2 are a testament to the filmmaker's commitment to character-driven storytelling. Every punch, shot, and maneuver is motivated by the protagonist's desires, fears, and relationships, making the violence feel earned rather than gratuitous. The result is a film that delivers on the thrills expected of the genre while offering a deeper, more resonant experience for viewers. In a landscape crowded with action movies that prioritize spectacle over substance, The Accountant 2 stands out for its intelligence, authenticity, and heart. Violence and gore. The Accountant 2 is unapologetically violent, and its approach to action and gore is both a defining stylistic choice and a narrative necessity. The film, rated R for its graphic content, pushes the boundaries of mainstream action cinema with scenes that are often brutal, bloody, and unflinching. This commitment to realism and intensity is not simply for shock value, rather, it is deeply entwined with the film's exploration of trauma, justice, and the emotional bonds between its characters. Realism in violence. From the opening assassination of Raymond King, J.K. Simmons, the film sets a tone of danger and unpredictability. King's murder is not a sanitized, off-screen event, it is depicted in visceral detail, with gunshots echoing through a seedy bar and blood spattering across the frame. The camera lingers just long enough to make the audience uncomfortable, underscoring the stakes and the ruthlessness of the world these characters inhabit. This realism persists throughout the film, with each act of violence carrying tangible consequences both physical and psychological. Director Gavin O'Connor and the cast have emphasized that the violence in The Accountant 2 is always rooted in character and motivation, not spectacle. Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal, both veterans of superhero franchises, have spoken about how the action here is different. You can't lie in a fight, you just can't. What you want is right there, Bernthal remarked. For Braxton, violence is a language, a way to express loyalty, love, and even regret. For Christian, it's a tool, wielded with mathematical precision and emotional detachment, but never without purpose. The function of gore. The film does not shy away from showing the aftermath of violence. Wounds are messy, blood pools on the floor, and bodies are left in the wake of each confrontation. Whether it's a close-quarters fight in a cramped apartment, a shootout in a warehouse, or the climactic assault on a prison camp in Juarez, the filmmakers use gore to drive home the cost of every decision. The violence is not stylized or sanitized, it is meant to unsettle, to remind viewers that every bullet and every blow has consequences. This approach is particularly evident in the scenes involving human trafficking and the rescue of children from captivity. The brutality of the traffickers is depicted with unflinching honesty, and the violence deployed by Christian and Braxton in response is equally uncompromising. The brothers' assault on the compound is a cacophony of gunfire, screams, and chaos, with the camera refusing to look away from the carnage. Yet, the violence is not gratuitous, it is a necessary evil, a means to an end in the fight against monstrous adversaries. Emotional impact. What sets The Accountant 2 apart from many action films is the way it links violence to emotion. The action sequences are not just opportunities for the filmmakers to show off choreography or special effects, they are moments of catharsis, reflection, and sometimes even redemption. For Christian and Braxton, violence is a way to protect each other, to atone for past mistakes, and to assert control in a world that has often rendered them powerless. Bernthal has spoken about how, for his character, violence is an expression of love and loyalty. In a strange way, the action scenes show how much these brothers love and need each other, he said. This is especially true in the film's quieter moments, where the aftermath of a fight is often followed by scenes of vulnerability and connection. The brothers bandage each other's wounds, share a drink, or simply sit in silence, processing the toll of what they've just endured. The ethics of on-screen violence. The film's depiction of violence has sparked discussion among critics and audiences alike. Some have praised its honesty and refusal to glamorize brutality, while others have questioned whether the level of gore is truly necessary. There is an undeniable tension in the film between the thrill of the action and the horror of its consequences, a tension that the filmmakers seem acutely aware of. This ethical ambiguity is mirrored in the characters themselves. Marybeth Medina, Cynthia Addai-Robinson, for example, is increasingly uncomfortable with the group's methods as the story progresses. She questions whether the ends justify the means, and her discomfort serves as a surrogate for the audience's own unease. The film does not offer easy answers, instead inviting viewers to grapple with the same moral dilemmas as its protagonists. Violence as redemption and trauma. For Anais, the mysterious assassin whose story is central to the film's plot, violence is both a symptom of trauma and a path to redemption. Her transformation from victim to avenger is marked by acts of extreme brutality, but these are always rooted in her desire to reclaim agency and protect her son. The film explores the psychological toll of violence, showing how it can both empower and destroy, heal and scar. The final act, in which Anais confronts and kills Burke, the architect of her suffering, is a culmination of this theme. The violence is swift and decisive, but it is also tinged with sadness and loss. Anais is not triumphant, she is exhausted, haunted by what she has done and what she has lost. The film's willingness to linger on these moments of aftermath is a testament to its refusal to treat violence as mere entertainment. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, violence and gore are not just aesthetic choices, they are integral to the film's exploration of justice, trauma, and the bonds of family. The brutality is often difficult to watch, but it is always purposeful, serving to deepen the characters and heighten the stakes. By refusing to sanitize or glamorize its action, the film challenges viewers to confront the reality of violence and to consider what it truly means to fight for what you love. In a genre often defined by excess and escapism, The Accountant 2 stands out for its honesty, its intensity, and its unwavering commitment to emotional truth. Humor and tone shift. One of the most striking and debated aspects of The Accountant 2 is its deliberate shift in tone from the original film's brooding, noir-inspired atmosphere to a lighter, more comedic, and at times even playful sensibility. This tonal transformation is not merely a cosmetic change but a fundamental reimagining of what the franchise can be, and it impacts everything from character dynamics to the pacing, dialogue, and even the visual style of the film. For some, this evolution injects new life and accessibility into the series, for others, it risks undermining the grit and seriousness that made the first installment stand out. The original's tone, grit, tension, and isolation. To fully appreciate the impact of the sequel's tonal shift, it's important to recall the mood of the original The Accountant. The first film was defined by a sense of tension and unease, with Christian Wolff, Ben Affleck, portrayed as a lonely, enigmatic figure navigating a world of criminal enterprise and moral ambiguity. The color palette was muted, the score somber, and the humor when it appeared was dry, dark, and often uncomfortable. The narrative was tightly wound, with every scene contributing to a mounting sense of danger and psychological complexity. The sequel's new direction, embracing humor. The Accountant 2 upends this formula almost from its opening moments. While the story still revolves around murder, conspiracy, and high-stakes action, the film is noticeably more relaxed in its approach. The script, penned again by Bill Dubuque, is peppered with witty banter, situational comedy, and moments of self-aware absurdity. The humor is not just an occasional garnish but an integral ingredient, shaping the interactions between characters and the overall rhythm of the film. The most obvious source of comedy is the dynamic between Christian and his brother Braxton, Jon Bernthal. The sequel leans heavily into their odd couple chemistry, with Christian's deadpan literalism and Braxton's impulsive, wisecracking bravado creating a steady stream of comedic moments. Whether they're arguing over tactics in the middle of a gunfight, navigating a country western bar's dance floor, or simply bickering like siblings over breakfast, their exchanges are laced with warmth and wit. Examples of humor in action. One of the film's most talked about scenes involves Christian, who is notoriously uncomfortable in social situations, attempting to blend in at a lively bar by mathematically decoding the steps of a line dance. The sequence, which director Gavin O'Connor described as a hard left turn, is played for both laughs and character development. Christian's awkward but earnest attempts to participate are met with bemused encouragement from Braxton and the locals, and the moment quickly devolves into a comedic bar brawl, one that still manages to advance the plot and deepen the brothers' relationship. Another recurring source of humor is the film's self-awareness. The script occasionally pokes fun at the conventions of the action thriller genre, with characters making tongue-in-cheek remarks about their own predicament or the improbability of certain situations. This meta-humor never tips into parody, but it does signal to the audience that the filmmakers are in on the joke, inviting viewers to enjoy the ride rather than take every twist and turn at face value. Balancing act, risks and rewards. The decision to infuse the sequel with humor is a bold one, and it comes with both risks and rewards. On the positive side, the lighter tone makes the film more accessible to a broader audience, including those who may have found the original too bleak or cerebral. The humor also humanizes the characters, making their struggles and triumphs more relatable and endearing. The comedic moments provide much-needed relief from the violence and high-stakes drama, preventing the film from becoming oppressively dark. However, this tonal shift is not without its drawbacks. Some longtime fans and critics have expressed disappointment that the sequel sacrifices the original's sense of danger and psychological depth in favor of crowd-pleasing laughs. The stakes, while still present, can feel less urgent when undercut by jokes or slapstick moments. There is also the risk that the humor, if overused, could undermine the gravity of the film's more serious themes such as trauma, justice, and redemption. Visual and musical cues. The shift in tone is reflected not just in the dialogue and performances but also in the film's visual and musical choices. Cinematographer Seamus McGarvey, returning from the first film, employs a brighter, more dynamic palette for many scenes, especially those involving the brothers together. The camera lingers longer on moments of levity, and the editing allows comedic beats to land with precision. Bryce Dessner's score, replacing Mark Isham's more somber compositions, incorporates lighter, more playful motifs that underscore the film's new sensibility. Cast and crew perspectives. Both Affleck and Bernthal have spoken in interviews about their enthusiasm for the sequel's comedic direction. Affleck noted that the humor allowed him to explore new facets of Christian's personality, while Bernthal relished the opportunity to play off Affleck's deadpan delivery. Director O'Connor has said that the shift was intentional, designed to check all the boxes: drama, action, humor, and love in order to create a more well-rounded and satisfying cinematic experience. Audience and critical response. The response to the film's humor and tone shift has been largely positive, with many reviewers praising the sequel as more overtly crowd-pleasing and delightfully absurd compared to its predecessor. Audiences have responded enthusiastically to the banter and camaraderie between the leads, and the film's streaming success suggests that the lighter approach has broadened its appeal. However, some critics have lamented the loss of the original's moral grayness and unconventional plotting, suggesting that the sequel's accessibility comes at the cost of some of its predecessor's distinctive edge. Conclusion. In the end, the humor and tone shift in The Accountant 2 represent a calculated gamble that largely pays off. By embracing comedy and camaraderie, the film reinvents itself as a more accessible, entertaining, and emotionally resonant entry in the action thriller genre. While not all fans will agree with the direction, there is no denying that the sequel's willingness to take risks and evolve has injected new life into the franchise, setting the stage for even more adventures to come. Portrayal of autism. One of the most distinctive and discussed elements of the Accountant franchise has always been its protagonist's neurodivergence. Christian Wolff, played by Ben Affleck, is an autistic savant whose extraordinary mathematical abilities and unique way of seeing the world are central to both his character and the plot. In The Accountant 2, the portrayal of autism remains a focal point, but the sequel both builds on and complicates the groundwork laid by the original film. The result is a depiction that is both ambitious and, at times, controversial, raising important questions about representation, authenticity, and the boundaries of cinematic storytelling. Continuing the conversation. From the outset, The Accountant 2 makes it clear that Christian's autism is not just a character trait but an integral part of his identity and worldview. The film continues to show Christian's reliance on routines, his discomfort with eye contact and small talk, and his preference for order and predictability. These aspects are woven into the narrative, influencing everything from his investigative methods to his relationships with others. Christian's ability to spot patterns and solve complex problems is presented as both a superpower and a source of isolation, echoing the duality explored in the first film. Ben Affleck's performance is again marked by restraint and respect. He avoids caricature and instead focuses on the subtleties of Christian's behavior, his flat affect, his literal interpretation of language, his stimming, repetitive movements, and his need for sensory regulation. Affleck has spoken publicly about the research and preparation that went into the role, including consultations with autistic adults and advocates. This commitment to authenticity lends credibility to the portrayal, even as the film's plot veers into the fantastical. The autistic savant trope. However, The Accountant 2 also leans heavily into the autistic savant trope, a narrative device that has been both celebrated and criticized in media. Christian's extraordinary abilities, his photographic memory, lightning-fast calculations, and almost superhuman combat skills set him apart from neurotypical characters and drive much of the story's action. The film even introduces a school for gifted autistic hackers, further emphasizing the idea that neurodivergence can be a source of exceptional talent. While this approach has the benefit of showcasing autistic individuals as capable and even heroic, it also risks reinforcing stereotypes. Not all autistic people are savants, and the focus on extraordinary abilities can overshadow the everyday realities and challenges faced by many in the community. Some critics have argued that the film's portrayal, while well-intentioned, may contribute to unrealistic expectations and misunderstandings about what autism actually is. Representation and responsibility. The question of representation is a complex one, and The Accountant 2 walks a fine line. On the one hand, the film deserves credit for placing an autistic character at the center of a big-budget action movie, a rarity in Hollywood. Christian is not defined by his diagnosis, he is a fully realized character with strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. The film treats his neurodivergence as a difference, not a deficit, and it repeatedly challenges the notion that he needs to be fixed or cured. On the other hand, the film's depiction is not without its flaws. The introduction of the hacker school, while imaginative, strains credibility and risks turning autism into a plot device rather than a lived experience. Some scenes, such as Christian's ability to instantly decode complex patterns or outfight multiple opponents with ease, border on the fantastical. While these moments are undeniably entertaining, they may inadvertently perpetuate the myth that autistic people are either geniuses or completely incapable, an oversimplification that does a disservice to the diversity of the autistic community. Interpersonal relationships. One of the more nuanced aspects of the sequel is its exploration of Christian's relationships with others, particularly his brother Braxton and his business partner Justine, also autistic. The film delves into the challenges and rewards of connecting with someone whose communication style and emotional expression differ from the norm. Christian's bond with Justine is especially poignant, marked by mutual understanding, respect, and a shared sense of purpose. Their interactions are understated but deeply affecting, offering a glimpse into the ways autistic individuals can support and empower one another. The film also addresses the difficulties Christian faces in more conventional social settings. His discomfort in crowds, his tendency to misinterpret sarcasm or metaphor, and his need for clear, direct communication are all depicted with sensitivity. These moments serve as reminders that, while Christian's abilities are extraordinary, he is still navigating a world that is not always accommodating or accepting of difference. Critical and community response. The response to The Accountant 2's portrayal of autism has been mixed, reflecting the diversity of perspectives within the autistic community and among advocates. Some have praised the film for its positive depiction of neurodivergence and its refusal to treat autism as a tragedy or a punchline. Others have expressed concern that the focus on savant abilities and action hero tropes may overshadow the realities faced by most autistic people. Notably, the film has sparked conversations about the need for greater inclusion of autistic actors and creators in the industry. While Affleck's performance is widely respected, some advocates have argued that authentic representation requires more than research and empathy, it requires lived experience. Conclusion. In the end, The Accountant 2's portrayal of autism is both a step forward and a reminder of the challenges that remain in representing neurodiversity on screen. The film offers a complex, multifaceted protagonist whose differences are celebrated rather than stigmatized, and it invites audiences to see the world through a different lens. At the same time, it raises important questions about the line between inspiration and stereotype, and about the responsibilities of filmmakers in shaping public perceptions. For all its flaws and ambitions, The Accountant 2 succeeds in keeping the conversation going, a vital contribution in its own right. Supporting cast. While The Accountant 2 is anchored by the electric chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal as Christian, Wolff and Braxton, respectively, the film's supporting cast plays a crucial role in fleshing out the world and elevating the narrative. The ensemble brings a mix of returning faces and new characters, each adding layers of intrigue, emotional depth, and thematic resonance. Their performances, though sometimes overshadowed by the leads, are essential to the film's success, providing context, conflict, and contrast that enrich the central story. The return of Marybeth Medina. Cynthia Addai-Robinson reprises her role as Marybeth Medina, the Treasury agent who served as a foil and reluctant ally to Christian in the original film. In The Accountant 2, Medina is given a more prominent and nuanced role. No longer the nervous, compromised agent of the first installment, she has evolved into a determined investigator, driven by a sense of duty and a desire to honor the legacy of her late mentor, Raymond King. Her character arc is one of the film's most compelling, as she grapples with the moral ambiguities of her work and the personal cost of her choices. Addai-Robinson's performance has been met with mixed reviews. Some critics have praised her for bringing a quiet intensity and vulnerability to the role, particularly in scenes where Medina confronts her own complicity in the system she serves. Others have found her portrayal somewhat wooden, arguing that the script does not always give her enough room to fully develop. Despite this, Medina remains a vital presence, serving as a bridge between the brothers' world and the broader, more bureaucratic reality of law enforcement. Her interactions with Christian and Braxton, marked by mutual respect, suspicion, and occasional exasperation, add complexity to the film's exploration of justice and loyalty. The enigmatic Anais. Daniella Pineda joins the cast as Anais, a mysterious assassin whose past is intertwined with the film's central case. Anais is a survivor of human trafficking, and her journey from victim to avenger is one of the film's most emotionally charged subplots. Pineda brings a fierce, magnetic energy to the role, balancing Anais's vulnerability with a steely resolve. Her performance is a standout, and she quickly becomes a fan favorite, especially in her scenes with Braxton, where their chemistry crackles with tension and mutual respect. Anais's character also serves as a mirror for the film's themes of trauma, resilience, and redemption. Her backstory is revealed in a series of flashbacks that are both harrowing and poignant, and her ultimate confrontation with her tormentor is one of the film's most cathartic moments. Pineda's ability to convey both strength and fragility makes Anais a compelling and relatable figure, and her presence adds a much-needed female perspective to the otherwise male-dominated narrative. The brief but impactful return of Raymond King. J.K. Simmons returns briefly as Raymond King, the former Treasury director whose murder sets the plot in motion. Though his screen time is limited, Simmons makes the most of every moment, bringing his trademark gravitas and wit to the role. His presence looms large over the film, both as a mentor figure for Medina and as a catalyst for the brothers' reunion. The decision to kill off King early in the story is a bold one, but it pays off by raising the stakes and giving the protagonists a personal investment in the case. The School for Gifted Autistic Hackers. One of the more intriguing additions to the supporting cast is the group of young autistic hackers who assist Christian in his investigation. Their inclusion is both a narrative device and a thematic statement, highlighting the potential of neurodivergent individuals when given the right support and opportunities. While some critics have questioned the plausibility of the hacker school concept, the characters themselves are portrayed with warmth and respect. Their interactions with Christian are among the film's most touching moments, offering a glimpse into a world where difference is celebrated rather than stigmatized. Other notable performances. The film also features a number of memorable supporting characters, including Justine, Christian's autistic business partner, and a host of antagonists who range from corrupt officials to ruthless traffickers. Each is given enough screen time to make an impression, and the actors bring a sense of authenticity and menace to their roles. The villains, in particular, are more than mere cannon fodder, they are complex, morally ambiguous figures whose motivations are rooted in greed, fear, or a twisted sense of justice. Thematic contributions. The supporting cast is not just there to fill out the background, they are essential to the film's exploration of its central themes. Through Medina, the film examines the challenges of navigating a corrupt system while maintaining one's integrity. Through Anais, it explores the lasting impact of trauma and the possibility of redemption. Through the young hackers, it celebrates the power of community and the importance of acceptance. And through the villains, it confronts the darker aspects of human nature, reminding us that the line between good and evil is often blurred. Chemistry and dynamics. The interplay between the supporting cast and the leads is one of the film's strengths. Christian's interactions with Justine and the young hackers are marked by mutual respect and understanding, offering a counterpoint to the more fraught relationships he has with authority figures and adversaries. Braxton's dynamic with Anais is electric, their shared history and mutual attraction adding a layer of romantic tension to the story. Medina's evolving relationship with both brothers provides a steady anchor, grounding the film's more outlandish elements in a sense of reality. Critical reception. Critics have generally praised the supporting cast for their commitment and charisma, even when the material is uneven. Pineda, in particular, has been singled out for her standout performance, while Addai-Robinson and Simmons have been commended for bringing depth to their roles. The young actors playing the hackers have also received positive attention for their authentic and heartfelt portrayals. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, the supporting cast is much more than window dressing. They are integral to the film's emotional and thematic fabric, providing context, conflict, and contrast that elevate the central story. Whether through the determined idealism of Medina, the fierce resilience of Anais, or the quiet camaraderie of the young hackers, these characters help to create a world that feels rich, complex, and alive. Their contributions ensure that The Accountant 2 is not just a showcase for its leads, but a true ensemble piece, one that offers something for everyone. Narrative complexity. Narrative complexity is a hallmark of The Accountant 2, distinguishing it from many mainstream action thrillers that rely on straightforward storytelling and predictable plot lines. The film's script, once again penned by Bill Dubuque, weaves together a dense tapestry of intersecting subplots, flashbacks, and character arcs, creating a story that is as intellectually engaging as it is emotionally resonant. This complexity is both a strength and a challenge, offering audiences a rich, layered experience but also demanding their attention and patience. A multilayered plot structure. At its core, The Accountant 2 revolves around the central mystery of Raymond King's murder and the subsequent investigation into a human trafficking ring. However, this main plotline is just the tip of the iceberg. The narrative quickly branches out to encompass multiple threads: the missing immigrant family, the brothers' fraught relationship, Marybeth Medina's internal struggle, and Anais's quest for justice. Each of these subplots is given significant screen time and development, ensuring that the film feels expansive and immersive. The film employs a nonlinear structure at times, using flashbacks to reveal crucial backstory and deepen our understanding of the characters' motivations. These flashbacks are not mere exposition, they are carefully integrated into the present-day action, often serving as emotional and thematic counterpoints. For example, scenes from Christian and Braxton's childhood are interspersed with their adult adventures, highlighting both the continuity and the evolution of their relationship. Character-driven storytelling. While the plot is undeniably intricate, the narrative complexity is always rooted in character. The film's twists and turns are motivated by the desires, fears, and histories of its protagonists, rather than by arbitrary plot devices. Christian Wolff's autism, for instance, is not just a character trait but a narrative engine, shaping his investigative methods and his interactions with others. Similarly, Braxton's impulsiveness and loyalty drive much of the action, while Medina's idealism and Anais's trauma inform their respective arcs. This character-driven approach ensures that even the most convoluted plot developments feel organic and earned. When Christian deciphers a complex code or Braxton takes a reckless risk, these moments are grounded in who they are and what they want. The result is a story that is both intellectually stimulating and emotionally satisfying, as the audience is invited to invest not just in the mystery but in the people solving it. Thematic depth and ambiguity. The Accountant 2 is not content to simply entertain, it also grapples with weighty themes such as justice, trauma, family, and redemption. The narrative complexity allows these themes to be explored from multiple angles, often with a sense of moral ambiguity. The line between hero and villain is frequently blurred, and the film is unafraid to confront the uncomfortable realities of its subject matter. For example, the human trafficking subplot is handled with sensitivity and nuance, avoiding sensationalism in favor of a more grounded, humanistic approach. The film acknowledges the systemic nature of the problem, showing how corruption and bureaucracy can hinder justice, while also focusing on the individual stories of the victims and those fighting for them. This thematic richness is one of the film's greatest strengths, elevating it above standard genre fare. The role of flashbacks and memory. Memory and the past play a crucial role in the narrative structure of The Accountant 2. The film's use of flashbacks is not just a storytelling device but a thematic statement, highlighting how the characters' histories shape their present actions and relationships. Christian and Braxton's shared trauma, Anais's experiences as a survivor, and Medina's memories of Raymond King all inform their decisions and motivations. These flashbacks are often triggered by moments of crisis or revelation, creating a sense of psychological depth and continuity. The audience is invited to piece together the characters' backstories, much as Christian pieces together clues in his investigations. This approach not only enriches the narrative but also fosters empathy and understanding, as we come to see the world through the characters' eyes. Balancing complexity and clarity. One of the challenges of a complex narrative is maintaining clarity and coherence. The accountant too walks this tightrope with skill, using visual and auditory cues to guide the audience through its twists and turns. The editing is sharp but never disorienting, and the cinematography helps to distinguish between different timelines and locations. The score, too, plays a role, with recurring motifs that underscore key themes and emotional beats. That said, the film's complexity is not without its critics. Some viewers may find the plot difficult to follow, especially during the more convoluted second act. The abundance of subplots and characters can occasionally feel overwhelming, and not every thread is resolved with equal satisfaction. However, for those willing to engage with the material, the rewards are substantial. The film's willingness to challenge its audience is a testament to its ambition and confidence. Narrative complexity as a reflection of character. Ultimately, the narrative complexity of The Accountant 2 is a reflection of its protagonist. Christian Wolff sees the world in patterns and codes, and the film's structure mirrors his analytical, detail-oriented mindset. The audience is invited to join him in decoding the mystery, piecing together clues, and navigating the moral gray areas that define his world. This alignment of form and content is one of the film's most satisfying qualities, creating a sense of immersion and intellectual engagement that is rare in mainstream cinema. Critical and audience reception. Critics have praised The Accountant 2 for its ambitious storytelling and willingness to take risks. Many have noted that the film's complexity sets it apart from more formulaic entries in the genre, offering a refreshing alternative for audiences seeking something more substantial. At the same time, some have cautioned that the dense plotting may be a barrier for casual viewers, and that not every narrative thread is fully realized. Audience reception has been similarly mixed, with fans of the original appreciating the deeper dive into the characters and their world, while others have found the sequel overly convoluted. Nonetheless, the film's narrative complexity has sparked lively discussion and debate, underscoring its status as a work that demands and rewards close attention. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, narrative complexity is not just a stylistic choice but a fundamental aspect of the film's identity. The intricate plot, rich character development, and thematic depth combine to create a story that is as thought-provoking as it is thrilling. While the film's ambition may occasionally outstrip its execution, its willingness to challenge conventions and engage its audience on multiple levels is a testament to the creative vision behind it. For those willing to embrace its complexities, The Accountant 2 offers a cinematic experience that is both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. Social commentary. The Accountant 2 is not content to be merely an action-packed thriller, it also strives to engage with real-world issues, using its narrative as a platform for social commentary. The film's exploration of themes such as justice, corruption, human trafficking, and neurodiversity offers a lens through which to examine contemporary society, even as it entertains with its high-octane plot and charismatic leads. This dual purpose to thrill and to provoke thought elevates the film above many of its genre peers, though it also invites scrutiny regarding the depth and sincerity of its engagement with these weighty topics. Justice and corruption. At the heart of The Accountant 2 is a critique of institutional corruption and the challenges of achieving justice within a flawed system. The murder of Raymond King, a principled government official, serves as a catalyst for the story, highlighting the dangers faced by those who seek to uphold the law in the face of entrenched power. Marybeth Medina's journey as a Treasury agent further underscores this theme, as she navigates a labyrinth of bureaucratic inertia and moral compromise. The film does not shy away from portraying the frustration and disillusionment that can accompany the pursuit of justice, suggesting that true integrity often requires operating outside the bounds of conventional authority. This commentary is particularly relevant in an era marked by widespread distrust of institutions and a growing sense that the system is rigged against ordinary people. By placing Christian and Braxton outsiders who play by their own rules at the center of the action, the film implicitly questions the efficacy of traditional law enforcement and celebrates the value of independent, morally driven intervention. However, it also acknowledges the risks and ethical ambiguities of vigilantism, refusing to offer easy answers or simplistic moral judgments. Human trafficking and immigration. One of the film's most prominent subplots revolves around human trafficking, specifically the plight of an immigrant family whose disappearance is linked to a larger criminal network. This storyline provides a stark reminder of the human cost of exploitation and the vulnerabilities faced by marginalized communities. The film treats the subject with a degree of sensitivity, focusing on the experiences and agency of the victims rather than reducing them to mere plot devices. However, some critics have argued that the film's engagement with human trafficking is ultimately superficial, serving primarily as a backdrop for its action sequences and character development. While the issue is given emotional weight particularly through the character of Anais, a survivor of trafficking, the film does not delve deeply into the systemic causes or broader implications of the problem. The resolution of this storyline, while satisfying on a narrative level, may leave some viewers wishing for a more substantive exploration of the underlying social and political factors. Despite these limitations, the inclusion of human trafficking as a central theme is significant. It reflects a growing awareness in popular media of the global crisis of exploitation and the urgent need for action. By bringing this issue into the mainstream, The Accountant too contributes to a broader cultural conversation, even if its treatment is not as nuanced or comprehensive as some might hope. Neurodiversity and representation. Perhaps the film's most distinctive and progressive element is its portrayal of neurodiversity, embodied by protagonist Christian Wolff and several supporting characters. The film presents autism not as a deficit or a tragedy, but as a difference that comes with its own strengths and challenges. Christian's unique perspective and abilities are integral to the story, and the film goes out of its way to highlight the value of neurodivergent individuals in a world that often marginalizes them. The introduction of a school for gifted autistic hackers is a bold narrative choice, one that has sparked both praise and criticism. On the one hand, it offers a vision of inclusion and empowerment, suggesting that with the right support and understanding, neurodivergent individuals can thrive and contribute meaningfully to society. On the other hand, some advocates have cautioned that this portrayal risks reinforcing the autistic savant stereotype, which does not reflect the diversity of the autistic community. The film's handling of neurodiversity is further enriched by its depiction of Christian's relationships with other autistic characters, particularly his business partner Justine. Their interactions are marked by mutual respect and understanding, offering a rare and positive representation of autistic camaraderie. These moments are among the film's most touching, and they serve as a counterbalance to the more sensationalized aspects of the plot. Family, trauma, and redemption. Beneath its action thriller surface, The Accountant too is deeply concerned with themes of family, trauma, and redemption. The relationship between Christian and Braxton is central to the film's emotional core, exploring the ways in which shared history and unresolved pain can both divide and unite. The brothers' journey toward reconciliation is paralleled by Anais's quest for justice and healing, creating a web of interconnected arcs that speak to the universal human need for connection and meaning. The film's treatment of trauma is nuanced and respectful, acknowledging the lasting impact of violence and loss while also offering hope for recovery and renewal. By grounding its social commentary in the personal experiences of its characters, The Accountant too ensures that its themes resonate on both an individual and a societal level. The limits of social commentary. While The Accountant too is commendable for its ambition and willingness to tackle complex issues, it is not without its limitations. The film's engagement with social themes is often broad rather than deep, touching on important topics without always exploring them in detail. The fast-paced, plot-driven nature of the story means that some issues such as the systemic roots of corruption or the lived realities of trafficking survivors are addressed only in passing. Moreover, the film's reliance on genre conventions and action set pieces can sometimes overshadow its more serious intentions, leading to a tension between entertainment and enlightenment. This is a common challenge for mainstream cinema, and The Accountant too navigates it with varying degrees of success. Critical and audience reception. Critics have generally praised the film for its attempt to address social issues within the framework of a commercial thriller, noting that it stands out from more conventional entries in the genre. The portrayal of neurodiversity, in particular, has been singled out as a positive step forward, even as some have called for greater nuance and authenticity in future installments. Audiences, too, have responded positively to the film's social commentary, with many viewers appreciating its efforts to raise awareness and provoke thought. The film's streaming success suggests that there is a hunger for stories that combine excitement with substance, and that audiences are receptive to films that challenge them to think as well as feel. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, social commentary is woven into the fabric of the story, enriching the film's narrative and emotional impact. While its engagement with issues such as justice, corruption, human trafficking, and neurodiversity is not always as deep or nuanced as it could be, the film's willingness to tackle these topics is commendable. By grounding its commentary in the experiences of its characters, The Accountant 2 offers a compelling blend of entertainment and insight, inviting audiences to reflect on the world beyond the screen even as they enjoy the thrill of the ride. Pacing and structure. The pacing and structure of The Accountant 2 play a pivotal role in shaping the audience's experience, influencing not only how the story unfolds but also how the film's themes and character dynamics are perceived. While the sequel is ambitious in scope, juggling multiple subplots, timelines, and tones, it faces the perennial challenge of balancing narrative complexity with momentum and coherence. The result is a film whose pacing is at times exhilarating and at other times uneven, reflecting both the strengths and the growing pains of a franchise seeking to evolve. Opening momentum, a fast start. The Accountant 2 wastes little time in launching into its central mystery. The film opens with the shocking murder of Raymond King, immediately establishing high stakes and propelling Marybeth, Medina and Christian Wolff into action. This brisk start is effective, drawing viewers in with a sense of urgency and intrigue. The first act is tightly constructed, rapidly introducing the main players, outlining the new threat, and setting up the brothers' reunion. The editing is sharp, and the transitions between scenes are fluid, ensuring that the audience remains engaged as the narrative threads begin to intertwine. Shifting gears, the middle act. As the film moves into its second act, the pacing becomes more variable. This is where the story's ambition is most apparent and where its structural challenges emerge. The narrative branches out to include multiple subplots: the investigation into the missing immigrant family, the brothers' attempts to reconcile, Anais's quest for vengeance, and the introduction of the hacker school. Each of these threads is compelling in its own right, but their convergence sometimes leads to a sense of narrative congestion. The film alternates between high-octane action sequences and quieter, character-driven moments. Scenes of intense violence and suspense are followed by stretches of dialogue and introspection, particularly between Christian and Braxton. While this ebb and flow can be effective, allowing the audience to catch its breath and invest in the characters, it can also result in uneven pacing. Some viewers may find the slower scenes drag, especially when they are not directly advancing the main plot. Flashbacks and nonlinear storytelling. One of the film's structural hallmarks is its use of flashbacks and nonlinear storytelling. These sequences are employed to provide context, reveal character backstory, and deepen the emotional stakes. For example, flashbacks to the Wolff brothers' childhood illuminate the roots of their estrangement and the trauma that binds them. Similarly, glimpses into Anais's past help explain her motivations and the choices she makes in the present. While these flashbacks enrich the narrative, they also contribute to the film's complexity. The transitions between past and present are generally well handled, aided by visual cues and changes in color grading. However, there are moments when the frequent shifts in timeline disrupt the story's momentum, requiring viewers to recalibrate and piece together the chronology. For some, this adds to the film's intrigue; for others, it may be a source of confusion or frustration. Action set pieces, peaks of energy. The film's pacing is at its most dynamic during the action set pieces, which are strategically placed to punctuate the narrative and maintain audience engagement. Whether it's a barroom brawl, a high-speed chase, or a climactic shootout, these sequences are executed with precision and flair. The choreography is tight, the editing is kinetic, and the stakes are always clear. These moments serve as narrative peaks, injecting adrenaline and excitement into the story. Importantly, the action is not just filler, it is integral to character development and plot progression. Each set piece is motivated by the characters' goals and relationships, ensuring that the excitement is grounded in emotional reality. This approach helps to offset some of the slower stretches, providing a rhythmic balance between tension and release. Character interactions, the heartbeat of the film. Much of the film's structure revolves around the evolving relationship between Christian and Braxton. Their scenes together are the emotional anchor of the story, and the pacing often slows to allow these moments to breathe. The filmmakers are unafraid to linger on quiet exchanges, awkward silences, and understated gestures, trusting that the audience will be invested in the brothers' journey. While this deliberate pacing may test the patience of some viewers, it ultimately pays off by deepening the emotional impact of the film's climax. The supporting cast also contributes to the film's rhythm. Interactions with Medina, Anais, and the hacker school provide variety and texture, preventing the narrative from becoming too insular. These subplots are woven into the main story with varying degrees of success, sometimes enhancing the pacing and at other times contributing to a sense of narrative sprawl. The final act, convergence and resolution. The third act of The Accountant 2 is where the film's pacing accelerates once again. As the various plot threads converge, the editing becomes tighter and the stakes more immediate. The climax is a whirlwind of action, revelation, and emotional catharsis, resolving the central mysteries while leaving room for future installments. The film's structure ensures that the payoff is earned, with each character arc reaching a satisfying conclusion. Criticisms and audience response. The film's pacing and structure have been a point of contention among critics and audiences. Some have praised the sequel for its ambition and willingness to take risks, noting that the slower, character-driven moments add depth and authenticity. Others have argued that the film's narrative sprawl and uneven momentum detract from its overall impact, making it feel overlong or unfocused in places. Despite these criticisms, there is broad agreement that the film's strengths, particularly the chemistry between the leads and the quality of the action sequences, outweigh its structural shortcomings. The willingness to experiment with pacing and narrative form is seen as a sign of creative confidence, even if the execution is not always flawless. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, pacing and structure are both assets and challenges. The film's ambitious narrative, nonlinear storytelling, and focus on character dynamics create a rich, immersive experience, but they also demand patience and attention from the audience. While the pacing is uneven at times, the film's emotional core and thrilling set pieces ensure that viewers remain invested. Ultimately, the sequel's willingness to take risks with its structure is a testament to its creative ambition and a key reason why it stands out in the crowded landscape of action cinema. Direction and script. The direction and script of The Accountant 2 are central to both its strengths and its shortcomings, shaping the film's tone, pacing, and overall impact. With Gavin O'Connor returning to the director's chair and Bill Dubuque once again handling the screenplay, the sequel benefits from a creative team deeply familiar with the world and characters they helped establish in the original. Their collaborative vision is evident throughout the film, from its ambitious narrative structure to its blend of action, humor, and emotional depth. Gavin O'Connor's direction, balancing grit with heart. O'Connor's directorial style is marked by a commitment to authenticity and character-driven storytelling. Known for his work on films like Warrior and Miracle, O'Connor brings a similar sensibility to The Accountant 2, grounding even the most outlandish plot developments in believable emotion and motivation. His approach to action is refreshingly restrained, rather than relying on flashy camera work or over-the-top set pieces. He focuses on choreography that feels real and consequential. Each fight, chase, or shootout is meticulously staged to reflect the personalities and skill sets of the characters involved. O'Connor's direction also shines in the film's quieter moments. He gives his actors space to explore the subtleties of their relationships, allowing silences and glances to communicate as much as dialogue. This is particularly evident in scenes between Christian and Braxton, where the tension and affection between the brothers are conveyed through body language and timing as much as through words. O'Connor's willingness to slow down and let these moments breathe is a key reason why the film's emotional beats resonate so strongly. At the same time, O'Connor is not afraid to take risks. The sequel's shift toward a lighter, more comedic tone is a bold departure from the original's brooding atmosphere, and it could easily have backfired. Instead, O'Connor manages to integrate humor and camaraderie without sacrificing the stakes or the integrity of the characters. His direction ensures that the film remains cohesive, even as it juggles multiple genres and moods. Bill Dubuque's script, complexity and character. Bill Dubuque's screenplay for The Accountant 2 is ambitious, weaving together a dense tapestry of plotlines, themes, and character arcs. The script is packed with twists and turns, flashbacks, and moments of revelation, demanding close attention from the audience. Dubuque excels at creating morally ambiguous situations and characters, refusing to offer easy answers or simplistic resolutions. His dialogue is sharp and often laced with dry wit, particularly in the exchanges between Christian and Braxton. One of Dubuque's strengths is his ability to write action that is motivated by character rather than spectacle. The film's set pieces are not just opportunities for visual excitement, they are extensions of the protagonists' personalities and relationships. For example, the now famous barroom brawl is as much about the brothers' evolving dynamic as it is about physical prowess. The script uses action to reveal character, deepen relationships, and advance the plot, ensuring that every punch and bullet has emotional weight. Dubuque also deserves credit for his handling of the film's themes. The script tackles issues such as neurodiversity, trauma, justice, and redemption with sensitivity and nuance, avoiding the pitfalls of didacticism or melodrama. The portrayal of Christian's autism, in particular, is handled with care, balancing the character's extraordinary abilities with the challenges and misunderstandings he faces. Dubuque's decision to introduce a school for gifted autistic hackers is a creative risk that pays off by expanding the film's world and reinforcing its message of inclusion. Challenges and criticisms. Despite its many strengths, the direction and script of The Accountant 2 are not without flaws. The film's narrative complexity, while intellectually stimulating, can sometimes tip into convolution. There are moments when the abundance of subplots and supporting characters threatens to overwhelm the central story, leading to occasional pacing issues and a sense of narrative sprawl. Some viewers may find the film's structure confusing, particularly during the nonlinear sequences and flashbacks. The script's embrace of humor and lighter moments, while generally effective, occasionally clashes with the darker elements of the story. There are scenes where the tonal shifts feel abrupt, and the balance between comedy and drama is not always perfectly maintained. Additionally, some supporting characters such as Marybeth Medina are underwritten, their arcs serving more as plot devices than fully realized journeys. Another area of criticism is the film's handling of its social commentary. While Dubuque's script is commendable for addressing issues such as human trafficking and institutional corruption, some critics have argued that these themes are not explored as deeply as they could be. The film raises important questions but sometimes settles for surface-level engagement, prioritizing plot momentum over thematic exploration. Visual and technical storytelling. O'Connor's direction is complemented by strong technical craftsmanship. The cinematography, led by Seamus McGarvey, uses a mix of handheld and steady shots to create a sense of immediacy and intimacy. The editing is generally sharp, though the film's complexity occasionally leads to choppy transitions. The score by Bryce Dessner enhances the film's emotional and tonal shifts, using recurring motifs to tie together disparate elements. O'Connor also makes effective use of visual motifs and symbolism. Numbers, patterns, and codes recur throughout the film, reflecting Christian's worldview and inviting the audience to engage with the story on a deeper level. The visual storytelling is never heavy-handed, but it adds an extra layer of meaning for attentive viewers. Collaboration and ensemble work. The success of the direction and script is also a testament to the collaborative spirit of the cast and crew. O'Connor fosters an environment where actors feel empowered to take risks and explore their characters, resulting in performances that are nuanced and authentic. The chemistry between Affleck and Bernthal is a direct result of this collaborative approach, and it elevates the film as a whole. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, the direction and script are the engines that drive the film's ambition, complexity, and emotional resonance. Gavin O'Connor's steady hand and Bill Dubuque's sharp writing create a sequel that is both entertaining and thought-provoking, blending action, humor, and drama in a way that feels fresh and engaging. While not without its flaws, the film's creative vision and commitment to character-driven storytelling ensure that it stands out in a crowded field. For fans of the original and newcomers alike, the direction and script of The Accountant 2 offer a cinematic experience that is as rewarding as it is unpredictable. Visual and technical aspects. In The Accountant 2, the visual and technical craftsmanship is not merely a backdrop for the story, it is a vital component that shapes the film's atmosphere, emotional impact, and overall viewing experience. From cinematography and production design to sound, editing, and special effects, the film's technical elements work in concert to create a polished, immersive, and distinctive world. This attention to detail elevates the sequel, setting it apart from more generic action thrillers and reinforcing its unique blend of grit, intelligence, and heart. Cinematography, framing character and action. Seamus McGarvey, returning as director of photography, brings a keen visual sensibility that balances realism with stylized flair. The film's cinematography is characterized by its dynamic use of lighting, color, and camera movement, all of which serve to underscore the story's shifting tones and emotional beats. McGarvey employs a varied palette to distinguish between the film's different settings and moods. Scenes involving Christian's solitary investigations or moments of introspection are often shot with cool, muted tones, reflecting his analytical mind and emotional reserve. In contrast, sequences featuring Braxton or the brothers together are warmer and more vibrant, visually echoing the film's newfound humor and camaraderie. The camera work is equally versatile. Action scenes are captured with kinetic, handheld shots that place the audience in the midst of the chaos, heightening the sense of immediacy and danger. Yet, McGarvey is careful never to sacrifice clarity for excitement. Each punch, shot, and movement is clearly framed, allowing viewers to appreciate the choreography and physicality of the performances. In quieter moments, the camera lingers, using close-ups and shallow depth of field to draw us into the characters' inner worlds. Production design, creating a believable world. The production design in The Accountant 2 is both functional and evocative, grounding the film's more outlandish elements in a world that feels lived in and authentic. The sets range from stark, utilitarian offices and shadowy warehouses to bustling bars and the high-tech hacker school. Each location is meticulously detailed, with props, lighting, and set dressing that reflect the personalities and histories of the characters who inhabit them. The design of Christian's workspace, for example, is a study in organized chaos, walls covered in numbers, codes, and financial records, all arranged with obsessive precision. This environment visually reinforces his character's neurodivergence and provides a tangible sense of his genius. Similarly, the hacker school is rendered with a mix of playful creativity and high-tech sophistication, signaling both the potential and the challenges of neurodiverse collaboration. Editing, balancing complexity and clarity. The film's editing, overseen by John Gilroy, plays a crucial role in managing the narrative's complexity. With multiple timelines, flashbacks, and intersecting plot lines, the editing ensures that the story remains coherent and engaging. Transitions between past and present are handled with visual cues, changes in color grading, camera movement, or sound design that help orient the audience. Action sequences are edited for maximum impact without descending into the disorienting quick cuts that plague many modern blockbusters. The rhythm of the film is carefully calibrated, alternating between frenetic bursts of activity and slower, more contemplative scenes. This pacing allows the audience to absorb both the thrills and the emotional nuances of the story. Sound design and score, enhancing mood and meaning. Sound is an often overlooked aspect of filmmaking, but in The Accountant 2, it is integral to the film's immersive quality. The sound design is crisp and detailed, capturing everything from the subtle hum of computer servers to the deafening roar of gunfire. Each environment has its own sonic signature, helping to distinguish between locations and heighten the sense of place. Composer Bryce Dessner's score is a standout element, blending orchestral motifs with electronic textures to reflect the film's mix of tradition and innovation. The music shifts seamlessly between suspenseful, driving rhythms during action scenes and more reflective, melodic passages in quieter moments. Recurring themes are used to underscore character relationships and emotional turning points, adding an extra layer of meaning to the visuals. Visual effects, subtlety over spectacle. While The Accountant 2 is not a visual effects-driven film, its use of CGI and practical effects is judicious and effective. The filmmakers prioritize practical stunts and in-camera action wherever possible, lending a sense of realism and physicality to the set pieces. When visual effects are employed, such as in the depiction of complex computer interfaces or the enhancement of certain action sequences, they are integrated seamlessly, supporting the story rather than distracting from it. Symbolism and visual motifs. The film makes frequent use of visual motifs and symbolism, particularly around the themes of numbers, patterns, and codes. These elements are woven into the production design, cinematography, and even the editing, inviting viewers to engage with the narrative on a deeper, more analytical level. The recurring imagery of interconnected lines, grids, and sequences mirrors Christian's thought processes and reinforces the film's central motif of finding order in chaos. Technical challenges and achievements. The ambitious scope of The Accountant 2 presented significant technical challenges, from staging large-scale action scenes to coordinating the film's intricate visual language. The production team's ability to meet these challenges is a testament to their skill and dedication. The result is a film that feels both expansive and intimate, capable of delivering adrenaline-pumping thrills and quiet, character-driven moments with equal effectiveness. Critical and audience response. Critics have largely praised the film's visual and technical aspects, noting that they contribute significantly to its overall impact. The cinematography, in particular, has been singled out for its ability to balance clarity and excitement, while the score and sound design have been commended for their emotional resonance. Audiences, too, have responded positively, with many citing the film's immersive atmosphere and polished production values as highlights. Conclusion. In The Accountant 2, visual and technical excellence are not mere embellishments but fundamental components of the film's storytelling. Through thoughtful cinematography, meticulous production design, sharp editing, evocative sound, and subtle visual effects, the filmmakers create a world that is both believable and compelling. These elements work in harmony to support the narrative, deepen the characters, and engage the audience on multiple levels. For fans of the genre and newcomers alike, the film's visual and technical prowess is a key reason why The Accountant 2 stands out as a memorable and rewarding cinematic experience. Audience reception. The reception of The Accountant 2 by audiences worldwide has been a fascinating study in how a sequel can both honor its origins and carve out a new identity. While the film's tonal shift, narrative ambition, and character-driven approach have sparked lively debate, the overall response has been largely positive, cementing the movie's place as a standout in the action thriller genre and a streaming-era success story. Initial anticipation and release. Anticipation for The Accountant 2 was high, fueled by the cult status of the original and the return of its core creative team. Fans were eager to see Ben Affleck reprise his role as Christian Wolff, and the addition of Jon Bernthal as a co-lead generated excitement among those familiar with his work in gritty, character-driven dramas. The marketing campaign played up the film's blend of action, humor, and emotional depth, promising both continuity and evolution. Upon release, the film quickly shot to the top of streaming charts on Prime Video, becoming one of the platform's most watched original movies of the year. This immediate popularity was a testament not only to the built-in fan base but also to the film's broad appeal, which drew in viewers from across demographic lines. Streaming success and viewership. The shift to a streaming first release strategy for The Accountant 2 proved prescient. Within its first week, the film reportedly amassed millions of views, outpacing many contemporaries and even some theatrical releases. Social media buzz played a crucial role, with fans sharing favorite scenes, quoting memorable lines, and debating the film's merits on platforms like X, Reddit, and TikTok. The accessibility of streaming allowed for repeat viewings and word-of-mouth momentum. Many viewers praised the film's rewatchability, noting that its layered narrative and character moments rewarded multiple sittings. The film's success on streaming platforms also sparked renewed interest in the original, with both movies trending in tandem for weeks. Fan reactions: what audiences loved. A significant portion of the audience responded enthusiastically to the film's new tone and the chemistry between Affleck and Bernthal. Their banter, emotional vulnerability, and action-packed teamwork were widely cited as highlights. Fans appreciated the sequel's willingness to embrace humor and heart without abandoning the cerebral, morally complex world of the original. The portrayal of neurodiversity, while not without its critics, was also a major talking point. Many viewers, especially those in the autistic and neurodivergent communities, expressed gratitude for a film that placed an autistic character at the center of a big-budget action story. The inclusion of a hacker school for autistic prodigies, though fantastical, was seen by some as a positive representation of the potential and diversity within the community. The film's action sequences, praised for their realism and character-driven motivation, also earned high marks from genre fans. The bar brawl, in particular, became an instant favorite, with viewers lauding its blend of comedy, choreography, and emotional subtext. Points of division. Despite the overall positive response, The Accountant 2 was not without its detractors. Some longtime fans of the original expressed disappointment at the sequel's lighter tone, feeling that it sacrificed the first film's gritty realism and psychological depth in favor of broader appeal. A subset of viewers found the narrative complexity and multiple subplots overwhelming, arguing that the film occasionally lost focus or momentum. The portrayal of autism, while generally well received, was also a source of debate. Some autistic viewers and advocates felt that the film leaned too heavily on the autistic savant trope and that the hacker school element strained credibility. Others wished for even greater authenticity, such as casting autistic actors in prominent roles or consulting more deeply with neurodivergent creatives. Critical reception and audience scores. Audience scores on major platforms reflected the film's popularity. On Rotten Tomatoes, The Accountant 2 maintained an impressive 86% audience rating, with many reviewers praising its entertainment value and emotional resonance. Metacritic's user score hovered around 7.5/10, indicating broad satisfaction among viewers, even as critical scores were more mixed. User reviews frequently cited the film's balance of action and character, its willingness to evolve, and its standout performances. Negative reviews tended to focus on pacing issues, the plausibility of certain plot elements, and the handling of sensitive topics. Social media and fandom. Social media played an outsized role in shaping the film's reception. Hashtags related to the movie trended for days after release, and fan art, memes, and video edits proliferated across platforms. The dynamic between Christian and Braxton inspired particular enthusiasm, with many fans calling for a third installment or even a spin-off series focused on the brothers' further adventures. Online forums and fan communities hosted in-depth discussions about the film's themes, representation, and narrative choices. Debates about the portrayal of autism, the ethics of vigilantism, and the film's social commentary were common, reflecting the movie's ability to engage viewers on multiple levels. International response. Internationally, The Accountant 2 found success in markets where the original had also performed well, including the UK, Australia, and parts of Asia. Subtitled and dubbed versions were praised for maintaining the film's humor and emotional nuance. In some regions, the film's social commentary on corruption and justice resonated particularly strongly, sparking local conversations about similar issues. Legacy and rewatch value. As the dust settled in the weeks following its release, The Accountant 2 was widely regarded as a worthy sequel that managed to expand its universe while staying true to its core. The film's rewatch value, driven by its layered storytelling and engaging character dynamics, ensured continued interest and discussion. The positive audience reception has increased demand for a third installment, with fans eager to see where the story and the relationship between Christian and Braxton will go next. Conclusion. Audience reception to The Accountant 2 has been overwhelmingly positive, with the film's blend of action, humor, and heart striking a chord with viewers around the world. While not without its critics, the sequel's willingness to evolve, take risks, and engage with real-world issues has cemented its status as both a commercial and cultural success. For many, it stands as a model of how to craft a sequel that respects its origins while daring to chart new territory. Critical highlights. The critical response to The Accountant 2 has been as multifaceted as the film itself, with reviewers from major publications, online platforms, and independent blogs dissecting its merits and missteps. While the audience response has been broadly positive, critics have approached the film with a more analytical eye, praising its ambition, performances, and tonal reinvention, while also pointing out areas where it falls short of its potential. This section explores the key themes and observations that have emerged from critical discourse, providing a comprehensive overview of how The Accountant 2 has been received by the critical community. Praise for performances and chemistry. One of the most consistent points of acclaim among critics is the dynamic between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. Reviewers have lauded the chemistry between the two leads, noting that their interplay is the film's emotional and comedic anchor. The New York Times described their partnership as delightfully absurd and comically crude, highlighting the way their sibling banter brings both levity and depth to the narrative. Affleck's portrayal of Christian Wolff continues to earn respect for its restraint and authenticity. Critics have noted that he avoids the pitfalls of caricature, instead delivering a performance that is both nuanced and sympathetic. Bernthal, meanwhile, is praised for injecting the film with energy and unpredictability, his Braxton serving as a perfect foil to Affleck's reserved Christian. Variety remarked that the film's best moments are those in which the brothers are left to their own devices, their rapport both hilarious and heartfelt. Applause for tonal shift and humor. Many critics have welcomed the sequel's tonal shift, seeing it as a bold and successful reinvention of the franchise. The film's embrace of humor and camaraderie is cited as a key factor in its appeal, with reviewers noting that the lighter tone makes the film more accessible and enjoyable than its predecessor. Rolling Stone called it a rare action sequel that dares to have fun with its own premise, while IndieWire praised its willingness to be weird, wild, and unexpectedly warm. The barroom brawl and line dancing sequence have been singled out as standout examples of the film's comedic sensibility. Critics have noted that these scenes, while seemingly out of place in a traditional action thriller, work precisely because they are rooted in character and relationship. The Hollywood Reporter wrote, "It's in these moments of absurdity that the film finds its true voice, one that is unafraid to be both silly and sincere." Recognition of narrative ambition. Reviewers have also acknowledged the film's narrative complexity and ambition. The script's willingness to juggle multiple subplots, timelines, and themes is seen as both a strength and a risk. Some critics, such as those at The Guardian, have praised the film for refusing to talk down to its audience, offering a story that rewards close attention and engagement. Others have noted that the film's ambition sometimes leads to narrative sprawl, with certain plot threads feeling underdeveloped or rushed. The portrayal of neurodiversity, in particular, has been highlighted as a positive step forward for mainstream cinema. Critics have commended the film for placing an autistic character at the center of the action, though some have cautioned that the depiction leans heavily on the autistic savant trope. The Atlantic wrote, "While not without its clichés, the film's treatment of neurodiversity is earnest and largely respectful, a rarity in the genre." Criticisms: pacing, plausibility, and thematic depth. Despite the many positives, The Accountant 2 has not escaped criticism. Several reviewers have pointed out issues with pacing, particularly in the film's middle act. The abundance of subplots and flashbacks, while enriching the story, can also slow the momentum and create confusion. RoachRebert.com noted, for all its energy, the film sometimes gets lost in its own labyrinth, sacrificing clarity for complexity. The plausibility of certain plot elements such as the hacker school for autistic prodigies has also been questioned. Some critics have argued that these narrative choices strain credulity and detract from the film's otherwise grounded approach. Additionally, while the film's social commentary on issues like human trafficking and institutional corruption is appreciated, some reviewers feel that these themes are treated too superficially, serving more as plot devices than subjects of meaningful exploration. Technical and artistic merits. On the technical front, The Accountant 2 has received high marks for its cinematography, editing, and sound design. The action sequences are praised for their clarity and realism, with The Verge noting that the film's set pieces are a masterclass in character-driven action. The score by Bryce Dessner is also commended for its ability to underscore the film's shifting moods and emotional beats. The production design and use of visual motifs, particularly around numbers and patterns, have been highlighted as effective tools for reinforcing the film's themes and immersing the audience in Christian's worldview. Critics have noted that these elements add a layer of sophistication and intentionality to the film's visual storytelling. Overall critical consensus. Aggregated scores reflect the film's generally favorable reception among critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, The Accountant 2 holds a solid certified fresh rating, with an average critic score in the mid-70s. Metacritic's weighted average places the film in the generally favorable category, though with a wider range of individual scores reflecting the film's divisive elements. The consensus among critics is that The Accountant 2 is a sequel that dares to take risks, and while not all of them pay off, the film's ambition, heart, and entertainment value make it a worthy successor to the original. The chemistry between Affleck and Bernthal, the inventive action, and the willingness to blend genres are singled out as reasons to recommend the film, even to those who may not have seen the first installment. Conclusion. The critical highlights of The Accountant 2 paint a picture of a film that is both celebrated and scrutinized for its bold choices. While not without flaws, the sequel's performances, humor, and narrative ambition have earned it a place among the more memorable action films of recent years. Critics agree that, at its best, the film is a testament to the power of reinvention and the enduring appeal of well-drawn characters navigating a world that is as complex as it is entertaining. Weaknesses. While The Accountant 2 has been widely praised for its performances, chemistry, and inventive tone, it is not without its flaws. Several recurring weaknesses have been identified by both critics and audiences, ranging from issues of narrative coherence and pacing to concerns about character development and thematic depth. These shortcomings, while not fatal to the film's overall appeal, do temper its achievements and provide valuable points for discussion and critique. Narrative complexity and pacing issues. One of the most frequently cited weaknesses of The Accountant 2 is its over-reliance on narrative complexity. The film juggles multiple subplots, flashbacks, and character arcs, which can create a sense of narrative sprawl and confusion. While this ambitious structure is intended to deepen the story and characters, it sometimes results in scenes that feel disjointed or underdeveloped. Several critics have noted that the film's middle act, in particular, suffers from pacing issues, with certain sequences dragging or failing to advance the main plot. The abundance of subplots such as the missing immigrant family, the hacker school, and Anais's quest for vengeance means that not every thread is given the attention it deserves. Some storylines are resolved too quickly or left open-ended, leaving audiences wanting more closure or development. This narrative congestion can make the film feel overlong and unfocused, especially for viewers who prefer a more streamlined, straightforward approach to storytelling. Underdeveloped supporting characters. Another notable weakness is the underdevelopment of several supporting characters. While the film's leads Christian and Braxton are richly drawn and well performed, some of the secondary characters feel more like plot devices than fully realized individuals. Marybeth Medina, for example, is given a more prominent role than in the first film, but her character arc is often overshadowed by the brothers' dynamic. Critics have described her portrayal as wooden or underwritten, noting that she lacks the depth and complexity of the main protagonists. Similarly, the antagonists in The Accountant 2 are criticized for being somewhat generic and lacking in nuance. The main villains, corrupt officials and ruthless traffickers, are largely defined by their greed and brutality, with little backstory or motivation beyond their roles as foils for the heroes. This lack of depth diminishes the stakes of the conflict and makes the film's moral dilemmas feel less compelling. Tonal shifts and genre blending. While the film's shift toward a lighter, more comedic tone has been praised by many, it has also been a source of criticism. Some viewers and critics feel that the humor occasionally undercuts the gravity of the story's more serious themes, such as trauma, justice, and human trafficking. The tonal shifts can be jarring, with moments of slapstick or banter clashing with scenes of intense violence or emotional weight. This blending of genres, action, comedy, drama, and thriller, is ambitious, but it is not always executed seamlessly. Certain scenes that aim for both laughs and tension end up feeling tonally muddled, leaving audiences uncertain how to respond. The result is a film that sometimes struggles to maintain a consistent mood, which can be disorienting for those who prefer a more unified approach to storytelling. Portrayal of autism and neurodiversity. The film's portrayal of autism and neurodiversity, while generally well-intentioned, has also drawn criticism. While Christian Wolff's character is celebrated for bringing visibility to autism in mainstream cinema, some critics and advocates argue that the film leans too heavily on the autistic savant trope. The introduction of a school for gifted autistic hackers, while imaginative, is seen by some as unrealistic and potentially reductive, reinforcing stereotypes about neurodivergent individuals. Some viewers have also called for greater authenticity in the depiction of autism, such as casting autistic actors in prominent roles or consulting more closely with neurodivergent creatives. While the film's heart is in the right place, its execution occasionally falls short of the nuanced, respectful representation that many in the autistic community seek. Plausibility and suspension of disbelief. Another recurring criticism is the film's occasional reliance on implausible plot points and contrivances. The hacker school, for example, is a creative but far-fetched concept that stretches the boundaries of believability. Similarly, some of the action sequences, while exciting and well choreographed, push the limits of realism, with Christian and Braxton surviving situations that would be fatal for most people. These moments of heightened reality can be fun and entertaining, but they also risk pulling audiences out of the story, especially for those who value grounded, plausible storytelling. The film's willingness to embrace absurdity is part of its charm, but it can also be a source of frustration for viewers who prefer a more restrained approach. Thematic superficiality. While The Accountant 2 addresses weighty themes such as justice, corruption, and trauma, some critics argue that its engagement with these issues is ultimately superficial. The film raises important questions about the nature of justice and the limits of institutional authority, but it often settles for easy answers or plot-driven resolutions. The human trafficking subplot, in particular, is criticized for using a serious real-world issue as a backdrop for action and drama, rather than exploring its complexities in depth. This thematic superficiality is especially evident in the film's treatment of its antagonists, who are largely one-dimensional and lacking in motivation. The result is a story that sometimes feels more interested in spectacle and entertainment than in meaningful social commentary. Conclusion. Despite these weaknesses, The Accountant 2 remains an entertaining and ambitious sequel. Its flaws are, in many ways, the flip side of its strengths. Its narrative complexity, genre blending, and thematic ambition are what make it both memorable and imperfect. For many viewers, the film's shortcomings are outweighed by its charismatic leads, inventive action, and heartfelt moments. However, For those seeking a more focused, nuanced, or realistic thriller, the film's weaknesses may loom larger. Ultimately, the critical and audience discourse around The Accountant 2 reflects a film that is unafraid to take risks and push boundaries, even if it occasionally stumbles in the process. Its weaknesses are a reminder that bold storytelling is often accompanied by challenges and imperfections, but also by the potential for growth and evolution in future installments. Strengths. The Accountant 2 is a film that, for all its ambition and occasional missteps, boasts a formidable array of strengths that have earned it both critical acclaim and audience enthusiasm. Its successes lie not only in its technical craftsmanship and narrative innovation, but also in the unique chemistry of its leads, its thoughtful approach to character, and its willingness to reinvent itself within the action thriller genre. Below, we explore the core strengths that make The Accountant 2 a standout sequel and a memorable cinematic experience. Electric lead chemistry. At the heart of The Accountant 2 is the undeniable chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. Their dynamic as Christian and Braxton Wolff is the film's most consistent and compelling asset. Affleck, reprising his role as the autistic forensic accountant, delivers a performance that is both restrained and deeply empathetic, avoiding caricature in favor of nuanced authenticity. Bernthal, as Braxton, brings a raw, kinetic energy to the screen, balancing humor and vulnerability with remarkable skill. Together, they create a sibling relationship that is by turns hilarious, poignant, and thrilling. Critics and audiences alike have singled out their banter and camaraderie as the film's greatest strength. The interplay between Christian's logical, literal mind and Braxton's impulsive, emotional nature produces countless memorable moments, from comedic misunderstandings to heartfelt reconciliations. This chemistry elevates even the film's more outlandish sequences, grounding them in emotional reality and making the brothers' journey one that viewers are eager to follow. Inventive tonal balance. Another of the film's most notable strengths is its inventive tonal balance. While the original The Accountant was defined by its brooding, noir-inspired atmosphere, the sequel boldly embraces a lighter, more comedic approach. This shift could have backfired, but the filmmakers managed to blend humor and heart with action and suspense in a way that feels fresh and engaging. The film's willingness to be playful, most famously in the barroom brawl and line dancing sequence, sets it apart from more conventional action thrillers. These moments of levity are not just for laughs, they are rooted in character and serve to deepen the brothers' relationship. The result is a film that is as emotionally resonant as it is entertaining, offering audiences a rare blend of wit, warmth, and excitement. Character-driven action. The Accountant 2 stands out for its commitment to character-driven action. Unlike many modern blockbusters that prioritize spectacle over substance, this sequel ensures that every fight, chase, and shootout is motivated by the characters' desires, fears, and relationships. The action sequences are meticulously choreographed and shot, with a focus on clarity and realism that allows viewers to appreciate the skill and strategy involved. The film's action is not just about physical prowess, it is also a means of exploring the brothers' bond and their individual growth. Whether they are working together to outsmart a group of adversaries or facing off against each other in a moment of tension, the action always serves the story and the characters. This approach makes the set pieces more meaningful and memorable, elevating the film above standard genre fare. Thoughtful portrayal of neurodiversity. While not without its critics, the film's portrayal of neurodiversity is one of its most progressive and commendable strengths. Christian Wolff is a rare example of an autistic protagonist in mainstream cinema, and the film treats his neurodivergence with respect and sensitivity. His unique perspective and abilities are integral to the story, and the film goes out of its way to highlight the value of neurodivergent individuals in a world that often marginalizes them. The introduction of a school for gifted autistic hackers, while imaginative, is also a bold statement about inclusion and empowerment. The film's depiction of Christian's relationships with other autistic characters, particularly his business partner Justine, is touching and authentic, offering a positive representation of neurodivergent camaraderie. These moments are among the film's most heartfelt and are a testament to its commitment to diversity and representation. Technical excellence. The Accountant 2 is a visually and sonically polished film, with technical craftsmanship that enhances its storytelling. Cinematographer Seamus McGarvey's work is dynamic and expressive, using lighting, color, and camera movement to reflect the film's shifting tones and emotional beats. The production design is detailed and evocative, creating a world that feels both grounded and immersive. The editing is sharp and purposeful, managing the film's complex narrative structure with clarity and coherence. The score by Bryce Dessner is another highlight, blending orchestral and electronic elements to underscore the film's emotional and thematic arcs. Together, these technical elements create a cinematic experience that is as aesthetically pleasing as it is emotionally engaging. Narrative ambition and thematic depth. The film's narrative ambition is another of its defining strengths. The Accountant 2 is not content to simply rehash the plot of its predecessor, it seeks to expand the franchise's universe and explore new themes and ideas. The story is layered and multi-threaded, with flashbacks, subplots, and character arcs that reward close attention and repeat viewings. The film also engages with weighty themes such as justice, trauma, family, and redemption. While its treatment of these issues is not always as deep as some critics might wish, its willingness to address them at all is commendable. The film's exploration of the brothers' shared history and their journey toward reconciliation is particularly affecting, offering a nuanced take on the complexities of family and forgiveness. Broad appeal and rewatchability. Finally, The Accountant 2 has proven to have broad appeal and high rewatchability. Its blend of action, humor, and heart has drawn in audiences from across demographic lines, and its streaming success is a testament to its accessibility and entertainment value. The film's layered storytelling and engaging character dynamics ensure that it holds up to multiple viewings, with new details and nuances emerging each time. Conclusion. In sum, The Accountant 2 is a film that succeeds on multiple fronts. Its strengths: the chemistry between its leads, its inventive tonal balance, its character-driven action, its thoughtful portrayal of neurodiversity, its technical excellence, and its narrative ambition combine to create a sequel that is both entertaining and meaningful. While not without its flaws, the film's achievements far outweigh its shortcomings, making it a worthy successor to the original and a standout entry in the action thriller genre.